This time we'll call Tuesday, November 9th, 2021, meeting of the Jackson County Board of Supervisors to order. Larry McDevitt, Mike Steinis, and myself, Jack Willie, are your county supervisors. We have Lisa Smith and Pete Warren from the auditor's office, Luann, our administrative assistant, and as usual, our first appointment this morning is David Dreyer, Jackson County engineer.
Good morning.
First
Item I have on my list for today is an entrance permit for Mr. Nicholas Ernst in Bellevue Township, Section 3, on 308th Street, the north side of the road, for a Class C farm permit. And that's been reviewed, and we recommend approval of that one.
Move to approve. Second. We have a motion and a second to approve the entrance permit for Nicholas Ernst. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried.
And then we have a construction utility permit for work in the right of way for ITC Midwest. They're doing work in South Fork Township at that new substation off of 64, Section 20, going over 34th Street with an overhead line to connect to the substation. So we recommend approval of that one.
Motion to approve.
I would second.
A motion and a second to approve the ITC Midwest South Fork Township permit. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried.
And there's the public hearing for Leisure Lake. So I don't know exactly what the procedures are for that.
Do we need to
Yes.
open a public hearing or just wait the second, third hearing?
We just need to waive today because we already passed the ordinance.
I already had the public hearing. I would make a motion to wait. Is there anyone from the public? I would make a motion to waive the second, third here. Holding on the hearing for ordinance 295 as presented.
Just changing the speed limit leisurely.
Yes.
I would second that.
We have a motion and a second to waive the second and third readings of the ordinance reducing the speed limit at Leisure Lake. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried.
And my final item on the 1st of November, Quad Cities, I think it's Quad Cities, Peterbilt came in and informed us that their price for the 2 dump trucks that we had bid this past spring had increased by about $31,000. That they had issues associated with their corporate. Different surcharges were added to the project. They noted that the cost of computer chips on the open market are now being sold to the highest bidder apparently. Their factory in Canada is only running 3 out of 5 days. They have freight prices increasing, raw materials charges are increasing, and truck delivery charges are increasing. The bid was originally $134,391, and the new one is $165,529. They can still deliver the trucks in April. The next lowest bidder was International, and their costs have increased as well, and that would take an additional year to deliver trucks to us as well. So we're kind of between a rock and a hard place. Spoke with the county attorney, but basically we recommend that we fund the additional costs so that we have equipment to do the work that we need to get done. The trucks that they're replacing, one of them, the transmission, I'm told, is getting a little sketchy, so we want to proceed with this purchase with the cost increase. As difficult as it is.
So with the cost increase, would that not make our trade-ins worth more money too?
No, they held those prices for us. No, so they did not change that.
Would they raise them because they're worth more? Probably not.
We can talk to them. You know, we did see.
You might as well dream big,
Well,
Larry.
it's certainly consideration. You talk to your local dealers. I mean,
We did talk to
they're
them.
buying
and said,
everything
what,
used they can buy. But
you know, what assurances do we have? And he said, it was just verbal. He assured us that it was not going to go up again and that there wasn't any wiggle room, because I did ask him if there was any, price that could be negotiated there, but he said
And
it's
what-
coming down
what was
from
our
their
budget on the
corporate.
trucks?
Pardon me?
What was our budget on the trucks? Do you remember?
No, I'd have to go look.
So what was the trade-in value?
$30,300 on one and $43,200 on the second. So it's about a $15,500 increase per truck.
Shelley's down there asking you about.
But we would have them, within
within
months as opposed to.
Yeah, that's important.
That's correct.
So when we take these bids, we don't
Alright.
sign a regular contract with them or a purchase order per se that we,
We did sign a purchase order.
and they won't stand by that. And our attorney says that won't stick.
Our attorney said.
Well, you can push it, but
Cost you
again,
more than the 30,000.
yeah, I think in the long run. We'd be without a truck for. And then additionally, the issue with the truck bodies.
Well, I can see their point. I mean, you read the newspapers every day, but I don't like the idea of coming back and, kissing and telling. what you want
You're
to do.
absolutely right.
Well, no one likes that.
It kind of gets you over the barrel when you even say, we got the bodies ordered already, so we're in arrears to begin with.
Yeah.
I mean, if we cancel the bodies, I suppose we still gotta buy the bodies. We ordered them,
They're
right?
already built. Yeah.
And what are they gonna fit and what type of year truck and something's gonna change, and then we can sit there with bodies with no
Now
truck.
we have to start over another $80,000.
I think we have to just bite the bullet and make the purchase like we planned.
I would make that motion.
I would reluctantly second that.
I mean, the only other option would be if we could sell them the trade-ins
Well,
outright.
and it's worth asking them about that, because sincerely, they should make a good effort.
I can
If
talk to
that's the
them.
case, I mean, if we're willing to go ahead and say, well, yeah, we believe you and we're gonna do what you tell us, but honestly, the way things are around for use items, the lots are empty. Doesn't worry where you go, the lots are empty.
And you want
If they shorted their inventory, I mean, they're getting 200 trucks out of 310 that they ordered. So
Yeah.
there's 110 other truck buyers out there that are looking for something, and ours may have some wear and tear on them, but they're probably better than what.
Yeah, they were going to go to 300 other customers and tell them. the same. So they weren't just picking on Jackson County.
No, well, they can tell us.
We're- Yeah, but they don't affect us.
I'm not sure about the other 299.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. All those in favor?
I,
Aye.
thank you. With the note that you will ask. them.
I'll call them.
That'd be nice.
Might as well dream big. I don't see any citizens or visitors on unless, Kelly, are you wishing to address the board this morning?
No, sir. I'm just trying to keep myself informed.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Mallory,
All right.
we'll jump to the city of Macokota.
So you have good news, right?
What's
You
that?
have good news, right?
I do have good news. All the way around. All right. Starting right on the housing development, or you want other updates first?
Whatever you want to start with.
I have the bridge agreement, funding agreement with me to get a signature. You will hear that we have made an offer to a new city manager.
Oh, no, I hadn't heard that.
So there's your breaking news.
That is breaking news.
Yeah, it is. So,
In fact, I asked Marilyn yesterday, was there anything on the radio today about? She says, well, not when I was listening, so.
So it's still a secret? Is that what we're saying?
we had a meeting yesterday and the council approved offering a contract to the city manager, so.
So there was one of the three that were only interviewed, correct?
Right, yes, we only interviewed one. Mike was there for the interview.
I watched it. He was very, very impressive. He was, yeah, he held
Yeah.
himself very well. and looks-
His name is Josh Bolt. He'll come to us from DeKalb and we'll start in January.
Great.
He's very good. We're very excited.
Seems to be.
Yeah. Anyway, that isn't what I came here for, but I thought I'd update you on all those other things as long as I was here. I am here about our new housing development. So we have the prospect of a housing development on the land that the city owns at Western and Summit. It is a private developer. Brian Kraus is his name, out of Monticello. He built a spec house on Battles and sold it last year, and has just started a second spec house on Battles that will actually sort of serve as a show house for this one.
I'm sorry, is that a street you look over there?
Yes, yes, it is. Sorry.
That one never-
Southside
That
Battles
never did
Drive.
sound familiar to me. It's on the west side?
Yep. Yeah, that part that sticks down there into your land and the farmland. So he is interested in doing spec houses. Sitting on this 8 acres, it's really just tailor-made for a housing development. So got into conversations with him about that. It would, of course, be quite an investment and quite a risk, and we're super excited about it. He would put in 28 lots, put a street down the middle that would run parallel to Western. There'd be an entrance off of Summit, and then you can pass this around, I guess.
It's the same one as the email, correct?
Yep, yep.
Yeah, we have.
Okay, so market rate, meaning as opposed to affordable housing, those are the two lingo terms that are used in housing these days. This would be market rate, which is just basically houses that aren't subsidized in any way. He would perhaps put in a couple or maybe one workforce housing. I think it's up to about 225 for a sale value now for some that are eligible for tax credits, but that's still sizable, but not anything beyond that, but that will be up to him. It's platted such that, again, the 28 parcels in there, our zoning would mean that you could conceivably put duplexes on them, but not go higher than that in density on the duplexes. We do it such that the developer puts the infrastructure in. That's going to be about a $1.2 million investment to get the road and sewer and curb and lighting and all the infrastructure in there, which the developer would bear. He's asking for TIF, for a reimbursement on that, because it's a market rate and not low to moderate income. The TIF would be split approximately 60-40. It's probably 60 point something. But let's just say 60-40 at in 10 years, that's only going to bring in less than $1 million. We're going to get 40% of it to put toward low to moderate income housing projects in Macokota. He gets the rest of it. So we're here asking that we might be able to put a 5-year extension on that TIF instead of just 10 years. And our projections show that even with a 5-year extension on it, it's never going to reimburse him even close to the full value that he'll have invested.
You're talking just the infrastructure costs, so correct?
Just the infrastructure, yeah.
Is it normal that the city would invest in infrastructure like that with the water and sewer and road?
So there's 2 ways this is generally done. Sometimes the city bears the investment of putting it in and then reimburse themselves through the TIF. And sometimes you work with the developer too, and the developer does it and then deeds it back to the city. So has to build it to the city specs and then deeds it back to us. We're going to go this route. He offered to do that, to bear that risk. So he's basically going to go in the debt on the infrastructure rather than us, which we certainly can like.
Yeah.
Can you tell me on the plat of the housing development? I see this one area, I'm guessing it's a park, but it looks like a racetrack.
Yes, it is neither one of those things.
Detention.
It's a water detention
Oh,
pond.
it's a
I thought because there is,
And between this one that you saw the preliminary, the only difference between the preliminary and the final is that detention pond is a little bit bigger. We have stormwater issues throughout town and certainly in that area. And so there is the easement that goes through there and then that stormwater retention pond that's actually taking out what would be two lots. So I'm real pleased to report that the engineers in working on this on the developer's side, started with a small detention pond and they have increased the size of it twice themselves. We currently have the final plat sent to our engineers for review, but they've certainly been, that's respectable that they themselves have said, no, this isn't enough. It's going to have to be bigger. So it'll hold a lot of water. It also will set up, you probably know that the land on the other side of the road on the west has been purchased. Those two parcels, one up by Summit and one further north. The one on the north, local investment group, development group, hoping to put condos in there. They work with the same engineering firm, so this is setting up that development nicely. So we hope that will get that one to go as well.
So with all of this new infrastructure going in, it feeds into the existing, is the existing adequate, or do you need to?
Yes, we are adequate on that. We've got a fairly large water main up on Summit. We've had everything reviewed from the beginning. We've been in conversations on this for months, of course, but Jeff from Alliance and Frank from Public Works and Chris from MMU. We've even talked about one of the things you need is more electric capacity now as people are moving more toward electric vehicles and more electric use. And so, so we've had those kind of conversations. The big thing is it won't produce that money in 10 years. We can put the 10-year TIF on ourselves for infrastructure for housing, we would, but we need the collaboration of the school district, the community college, and you at the county to add those extra 5 years. The developer never gets more than what they invested. That's built into the system. So they're never, if for some reason it maxes out.
Yeah, part of that issue is you don't get any tax dollars coming in until after you get the houses built. So you have a period, there's 28 lots there, it takes a while to build 28 houses. So
And you wouldn't turn the TIF on until you probably have 4 or 5 of them.
Okay.
There's no point in doing it on the first one. You want to get some sort of critical mass going. Fortunately, I've worked on a project just like this in Columbus Junction before I came here, so it's fairly familiar to me. So,
Well, it certainly would be a nice addition to the town.
I think it'll be great.
And it's a great location.
I just did your numbers, that's 39,000 per lot. And when we did shoreline development, we had 17,000 per lot. And that's been 26 years ago. So it's
Is that what the numbers are at 39 now with this?
That's what, that's not including the price of the land.
Right.
And that's where we were at on that. We're at 17,000 for infrastructure and 17,000 per lot for land. So
You're telling me that 39,000 just for the infrastructure, that would divide it out to?
Per lot. It's expensive.
And then what we pay for the land?
We'll be selling the land for $269,000, which is what we have invested on a forgivable loan based on the houses being completed. So it is conceivable that there will be no cost to the developer if all the incentives for getting them there.
Okay.
In the long run, it greatly benefits us to have houses there financially, but also socially, just to have 28 households there. As opposed to 100 trees.
Brings a lot of money into the community.
Yeah.
All around.
And you've been to the schools or not?
We're on everybody's agenda, so I've consulted with the school and the community college, and everybody is favorable to it as long as it's market rate housing, which it is.
that's the key word.
It is the key word. Yeah, makes a difference.
I would make a motion to approve.
I would second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye, motion carried.
Thank you very
When would
much.
they start?
Good luck.
We would have the closing in December. The house would come down because that'll have to be removed, go in there. And I think he plans to do some site work in the winter and get going in the spring.
Any salvageable trees?
If you would like a tree, I'm guessing you could help yourself.
You know, there are some of the most beautiful evergreen trees out there. When I would walk down that street, oh, they are just gorgeous. They're
Yeah.
just getting crunched in together so big.
Yeah, the time to move them, I think, passed. for the
Oh, I'm
most
sure
part,
it
but
probably
yeah,
has.
Yeah, you'd have to have a.
I just wonder if they could consider of leaving some of those trees there. I mean, figure out what has to get moved and leave the rest of it in there, because that makes such a difference in new housing development. If you just
Oh, yeah.
have even 3 or 4, you know, whatever.
Right,
Um,
yeah, and he might very well do that. What should I do with the funding agreement for the bridge? Leave it here, and
Oh,
this was already in front of you last
yeah, we
week.
approved it last week, so.
We approved the signing too.
Judy likes the idea that we would have one signed original instead of the many.
Well,
that
I
you-
can sign it.
The
for
many
you.
that you end up with these days as people fax things back and forth, email them. Trying to think if I have any other news for you guys. It's quite a bit right there.
And I'm sure Lisa would sign it for you too. This isn't the time or the place to discuss it, but you know, there are some issues that the county is going to have out in front with the new roadway, and some of those issues we're not really very happy about.
I do have the emails that were exchanged or communications that my predecessor, I can print those out and bring them over to you so you can know where why we're at, where we're at. I was just looking at it, does look kind of nice. Brickwork, but,
That'd be fine.
okay, yeah, I did have the engineers do that, so I'll try to bring that over later today.
Okay.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you, greatly appreciate it.
Can I scan that before you go?
Which one do you want to scan?
The one he signed.
At this time, we'll recess till we're joined by Christine Trennell. Okay, this time we'll reconvene and we're joined by Christine Trennell. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So I am here today to request setting a date for the public hearing to adopt the new floodplain management ordinance. As I think you all are aware that they had been conducting a flood insurance study over the past couple of years and created the new flood insurance rate maps. And so the floodplain ordinance needs to be updated to reflect those changes in order to be part of the National Flood Insurance Program as well.
Okay.
Did you have many calls or anybody contest some of the maps? or-
I get a couple calls about different things. There's like certificate of elevation that you can get. There's a LOMR letter of map request or map change request. So there's different things that you can do if you are in the floodplain to kind of potentially request to be out if you believe that that's not like mapped correctly.
Wasn't there a time frame for that though, when we first had the study done and?
There was
Yeah.
one, yeah.
Yeah,
During the process when they were working on doing the study, and they created the preliminary maps. I think, I don't know how long it was, maybe about a year, where you can make an appeal. That appeal period is up. It was, I think, in February of 21 this year.
Well, there was some maps out that were really wrong, and one was out here at the mill for Lacey's. It showed the flooding all the way around the building. The upper part of that building you drive up to, it's, I want to say 20 feet or more above the creek.
Oh, yeah.
And the insurance guy said, well, here, it floods out here. And he says, that's out our front door. There's 2 floors below this yet. If that floods, the world's gone away.
Yeah, and I can look at things on case by case basis and then also get people in touch with the FEMA regional manager and kind of work through issues and stuff with them if these new maps.
The maps that you have are
Yeah.
correct.
Okay,
Is this the gentleman we talked to in Kansas City?
Yep, yeah.
So are the new are I want to say digitized maps on our site?
on our website.
Yes.
They're on Beacon, so, and it still has 2 options. There's the effective and then the preliminary. The effective is the current, the preliminary is what would be adopted January 28th of 2022. So the preliminary now is what will be effective in the future.
Because I know the first maps we got, I was a little concerned myself.
Yeah.
And I had a nice talk with this gentleman, and he was very helpful.
Mhm.
And he had sent me some new, I think he called them digitized, but there was a lot of difference in them.
Okay,
Even related to my neighbor's property and such, that
yeah,
there was quite a bit of difference in them.
uh-huh,
So they were a lot more defined, I guess you should say.
yeah.
So, we're looking just to set the public hearing, is that what we're doing?
Yeah, the request is to set a public hearing for November 30th.
I would move to do that.
Second. A motion in a second to have a public hearing on proposed ordinance number 296, floodplains. Any further discussion?
You want to set the time for the hearing?
9:30,
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock? Oh, okay.
That's our meeting day, yeah.
Huh?
That is the 30th, right?
Yes.
Okay. The 30th at 9 o'clock. All those in favor?
All right.
Aye, motion carried. Thank you. Thanks. Okay, Arlene's next. I suppose you want to wait till the end, so we'll recess till Arlene gets here. This time we're breaking. And we are being joined by County Recorder Arlene Shaw. Good morning.
Good morning.
You're good.
I guess I'm here to talk about the amended 28B agreement, which Iowa Land Records sent to all of you.
Yeah.
I don't know, did any of you listen to the webinar that Phil provided?
Did not.
Okay,
I skimmed through it and there were very little changes that,
because Phil Dungy is our coordinator for Iowa Land Records. He is a wonderful man. He is very, very, very thorough. So the webinar might have seemed to take quite a while, which it did, but he does not miss one beat, let me tell you. So just condensing it, evidently there were discussions with the ESS board, the state auditor, and some legal counsel. And they suggested that there be made just a small change in the 28E agreement. It's just a technical change. And the things that it affects basically is if there's any contracts that come up that's going to be managed through the 28E organization instead of the Recorders Association. Also, in doing it that way, there no longer needs to be a nonprofit 990 tax return done. It reduces the liability for the Iowa County Recorders Association, but it still leaves the counties and the recorders in control because the executive board appoints the electronic service systems member, the ESS members, which are a recorder from each district. I think it's one recorder from the 5 larger districts and 1 person from the Recorders Association Board. So it's not a big change. It's just a change that evidently the higher ups thought should be done. So I know they talked about doing a resolution, and I think Shelley sent an email late last night. And some counties are doing resolutions, some are not. I know when we initially did the 28 agreement in, it was either 05 or 06, 05, I think. Yeah, we didn't do a you didn't do a resolution at that time. You just signed the 2080 agreement. So, I mean, it's your call whether you want to do a resolution. But
Well,
honestly,
if
the
agreement's
amendment,
signed, it's probably all you really need.
Well, it's like, what's his name here? Or when Sherry wrote this, he said, things have gotten really complex and maybe we should have something on record.
who said that? Mr. Dungy?
That's Sherry Jones, who wrote this letter, cover page.
She's the president of the association,
She
yeah.
said things have-
And you can do a resolution, but just signing the amendment and getting that recorded. But if you want to do a resolution, I mean, you certainly can. But like I said, the 28 agreement, the first time you signed it, we just filed it and we didn't do anything.
Did we ask Sarah her opinion on whether a resolution or amendment?
No, which you certainly can. I mean, that's totally your call, so. Last night it wasn't yet because she didn't have any format for it.
This morning, I wonder if she's working on that, or we can just sign the signature page and not prepare a resolution. I mean, I think that's adequate. I had a signature page.
They're blacktopping today.
Hmm?
I think they're putting blacktop down today.
Where?
Through town.
Do we have a timeline on when that will be open? Plan?
We
I
haven't
think
heard.
we're past that.
Well, the new timeline?
Why don't we just recess till Lisa gets back with some information in the meeting at. And Lisa's found that Shelley has the resolution.
Just about done. Should be here in just a minute. So this would be resolution number 845-11-09-2021.
Make a motion to approve.
What?
With the signature.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear what you said. All those in favor? Aye, motion carried.
So once they sign the amended 28 agreement, I can mail it to Iowa Land Records along with a copy of the resolution. Or you can mail it. It's up to you. What do you want? Because I have to have a copy of it. And the amended 28E agreement signature page original will go to Iowa Land Records.
There was
And
no
then-
motion to sign the agreement.
Not yet.
Isn't that what you just did?
He just made the motion
Signed
to
it for the
sign the
resolution.
resolution.
Okay,
So. Can we have a
I would
motion?
make a motion to sign the agreement as presented.
Second.
A motion and a second to assign the agreement. All those in favor? Aye, motion carried.
thank you.
Supervisors.
So do you want me to do the original?
I'll bring everything over to you.
Perfect. Because the 2080 agreement won't be filed until we get all 99 counties to sign. Once that's all together, then they will send it to us for recording. So, okay,
Okay,
Do you know
Thank
how
you.
many counties have signed?
already? No, it's not due till the 19th or something.
Yeah, well, that's a week.
Yeah, but bear in mind when you got it, it wasn't,
Yeah.
it was, yeah, less than a month ago, so. So yeah, most of them, I think by the sounds of it, did it last Tuesday and some of them are doing it today and then it will. So sometime after the 19th, it will be filed.
okay.
Thank you.
Okay, Marty.
Morning.
Good morning.
Not a whole lot to report. First of all, I went to start the boiler up and neither one of them worked. They come and put a kit in them annually. And on the one boiler, he forgot to turn the gas back on. And the other one, when he was in there, a wire come unhooked. So I did what I thought I could do to it, and then I had to call the people that maintenance it. And they came right down and got it going. It was no big deal. And there was no charge for that because it was on their fault. Just stuff, little things I've done, or not just me, my department. Replacing receptacles, had like 15 broken receptacles, a couple light switches bad. We installed new outside lights in the jail, the exercise yard. The other ones were, I think, their original equipment. As far as I know, when the new part of the jail was built on there, we put LEDs on there so that they're more efficient and they'll last longer. I service the vehicles that we have, change oil and stuff like that. We moved a lot of furniture from the hospital down here at a store in the north lobby. We plan on hiding it down in the basement to get it out of the north lobby, but haven't got there yet. Got the building permit for the parking lot. Turned it in, got it the same day.
Okay.
Last time it took me 44 days for the sign over at the Penrose Annex. One of the last things I gotta do in Arlene's office, I gotta paint the front of the counter. And I'm getting that ready to paint, and did you get my email? I'm gonna paint it Thursday when nobody's here because it stinks. And that way it should be painted and the smell gone by Friday, hopefully. I went up, since we turned the air off, I cleaned the cooling tower up, get it ready for winter. And as I was up there, I noticed that the roof has bubbles in it. It's got a 4 inches of styrofoam and about I'm gonna call it an 1/8 inch of topping on it so the sun doesn't deteriorate, and it's got bubbles in it. So I called CCC. They're gonna come and look at it, give us an estimate what it would cost to fix it. So I can get that in my budget. Also, the stone on the outside of the building over here and a couple over here.
We talked about that.
Yeah, I can't remember, but I'm gonna get quotes on that to replace that too. And to seal the building, you're supposed to do it every 5 years. And I'm thinking we're right at the 5 years since it's been done. And it is budget time. Is there anything you guys would like me to look at to put in here for in my budget for the buildings or anything
Parking lot.
out here? Yeah, I did talk to Mike. We're gonna get together, Mike Clausing, and talk about that and get it done sometime next spring.
I know we had talked about some wiring and you were doing some investigating on that. I don't know. Did Marty touch base or?
What wiring?
That should be in the CIP and
Okay.
I'm gonna present next week.
Okay.
Anything else?
What's the update on the tractor?
There is no update. I told him I want an update, and he says I can't update you on the tractor. So
So is it on a container ship?
that's all he said. He says I cannot give you an update. Last time I talked to him, which was like a month ago, maybe 2 months and a half ago, he said there was 12 of them being shipped and they were on a container ship here. And I asked him if it was the container ship that the anchor hit the oil line, and he never texted me back or emailed me back.
So
Price did go up. then.
No, because we signed that thing that we get it for the price he quoted us. I did send that back in, so. we still have the old one, so if worse comes to worse, we can use that to push snow, because it really works good. Now that we got 25 feet of sidewalk out in front of the building that we're gonna have to clean,
I don't know that we're gonna clean all of that down to the street, are we?
Well,
I do not want to clean to the
Well,
street.
it
That
looks
is
like
a,
it
that
is.
is a liability to us. That, we do not want that. job.
wow. What a thing that is. I think they spent more on the sidewalk than they did the street.
Just wait till he slips the tractor off that incline and rolls it.
I don't think I can do that.
Slides right out into traffic.
There you go. So you know what? I don't. want
I'm
that.
covered, aren't I?
You might be run over covered.
Yeah, you're gonna
Let's
get
hope
covered all right.
Let's hope. Other than that, and I'm waiting to hear from Jared. What's that? Yeah,
Well, it's our inspection.
is it okay?
No.
I haven't seen it.
In your mailbox.
First thing.
Oh, I take that back. He did call me. And said that we need to,
All right, the third last line, it says, one ornamental pod has a broken pod lid fastener needs to be fixed. Said, let us know if you want it fixed on next inspection. Yeah, we do. Who lets them know? You?
yeah,
Okay.
How
see,
is it
I have not seen it.
I don't know. It seems like we do this every year. Are the cows stomping on this thing or what?
No, there's no cows in there.
Okay, so how are these things getting broken?
The only thing that can do to me is when he lifts it. Cause we don't touch it, or I don't know if, and I'm sure Jared doesn't, I can ask him. It's plastic, it's a plastic lid, and I'm sure the sun on it, the cold
It's
weather.
not the lid, it's a fastener. that's broken.
Well, I think it's the fastener that holds the lid down, is what it is, and I'm sure, I don't know, I will call Roger and ask him.
Okay, so this is included in, all this was included in their inspection. So when it says, we certainly need to pump the tanks, the way it looks.
Yeah,
the last
and
time.
I told him if that needs to be done, we need to do it.
Is that somebody that we get, or do they do that?
I think they do that,
Okay,
yes.
then let them know to do that also.
Yes, I will. Yeah, he did not tell me about the fastener, but he did tell me that we should look into pumping the tanks, and I told him if it needs to be done, to go ahead and do
I
it.
would think that would be on a rotation. It should almost be the same. We got the same amount of residents in there for how many years?
Yeah. Yeah,
And you said, did Jared never got back to you? Maybe it's worth a phone call to get.
well, I shouldn't say that. The last time we did it, was gonna do it, we went to the hospital and moved that stuff. And I told Jared, when we get done with that, and he got a free day, because he's more spread out than I, and he has not received, or I have not received back from, but I will call him.
Touch base.
Yeah.
Anything else for Marty?
Just as a side note to let you know that the files at the Andrew Jackson Care Facility, that project has been completed.
Oh, great.
So are them filing cabinets still in there?
Yes.
What do you want to do with them? Because I'm sure they would, the guys, or who's taking over the space?
That, I think that's for discussion.
Yeah, all right, you guys figure it out. And if you want the filing cabinets moved out of there, we'll do whatever. She had me remove the locks on a couple of them because we didn't have the key. So they're probably not salvageable, because the only way I know to get them out is take a hammer and a punch and punch the lock out.
The only thing with this space, that space is there's no outside door to it. It's just the walk-in doors from the outside.
If you send Reagan up there for about half a day, he could put you walking.
A door on the outside.
Yeah.
If you're gonna do that, then I think you put a 6-foot overhang.
Well, he's the
We have
master
two
of that.
walk-in doors, but if you wanted to store something in there, there's no heat in that part, is there?
I'm gonna say no, but it's right next to the spot that they heat. So
I would
it would
agree
not
with
be super cold in there, but it
The
would,
Truck in the next spot where the pianos still are.
yeah. What do you wanna do with him? We ever made a
I think we
decision?
discussed
I
that.
think you need that in your house.
Well, I
You
think
know,
we
I
discussed
have
that about
one
a
of
year
those,
ago, and you said
and
you were
I
just gonna
even-
haul them over to the neighbor.
Well, I wanna make sure it's okay.
I think we already approved that.
Oh, did
A
you?
long time ago.
Okay,
I know the Historical Society already has to, they don't have room for any more.
Larry wants it. I
Wait
see
on the
it.
Bellevue one. I think I might have something I might want.
Okay,
So speaking of your budget, since been up there several times, I was up there yesterday morning. My question is in regard to the building, the shed that you replaced, pulled back, got fixed. Are you thinking about putting doors on the south side?
Well, eventually, maybe someday, but
Don't you think that makes sense? If we're gonna use that for storage, shouldn't he budget to?
that's up to you folks.
I mean, that's gonna make a nice building. We can keep it that way.
So would you do garage doors or would you do sliders? Because I
Do
don't,
garage doors.
I
okay,
would think I would do garage doors to keep it a little tighter.
I will get a,
Get a bid for it.
I mean, as far as framing it in, it doesn't have to be,
we could probably do
well,
that.
yeah, it's not a,
I just. thought,
Like
you
I
know
said,
what?
my right hand man is really good at that.
I looked at that the other day as I was waiting for the PH ladies to show up. And I thought, for the amount of money that it's gonna take to do that, it's probably well worth it for the storage value.
Someday you gotta put steel on it too,
because we talked about that.
would really help it out. And it wouldn't take a lot
As trailer.
either, because there ain't much there.
Well, they parked it in that machine shed up there for the winter, in the winter months. Well, then, of course, there was a bulldozer parked in front of it. So if we needed to get the trailer
Oh,
out, we
yeah,
had
that
to
doesn't make any
move the
sense.
bulldozer in February.
I think they rearranged that stuff, because I had the
I don't think.
snow blade up there stuff, and they brought all that stuff to the front when they put the dozer in there this time.
You still got jacks on that building?
Yeah. Yeah, a half a day, I'll get that done too while we're up there. All I gotta do is put a couple Y braces on them posts down through the middle. The problem I was having was taking a long time because the post here and the floor joist is way over here and the other one's way over here. So I gotta put a board in between it, otherwise I'd had it done. I got and all what I got is the ones on the middle, just to keep it in the middle, but the ends ones, I got that all braced on both ends. It looks good.
How unlevel is that concrete? We're talking about putting doors in.
It's fairly unlevel. And, you know, you wouldn't have to put door on every bay. If you just put one down on the biggest hole, then I think that would work for the rest of it. In my
None of
opinion,
them are level, are they?
I don't think they're level, but I think the very first one to the west is close. Again, when I get up there, I'll check that out and make sure. And then I'll let you know, and then you can tell me how many garage doors you want in it. Should I get a price on putting steel on it too or not? I think it's a nice shed. It really is. It's cement floor, you know.
Steel
It would clean it up.
First of November, so I don't know.
Well, it wouldn't hurt to get a bid, and if it's too much, it's too much, you know.
That'd be a nice winter job too. You get some nice days.
Well, you can do that.
Okay. Anything else?
And I know you say the parking permit. Was he gonna start that parking area down there?
He told me he was gonna start it right away, but he hasn't been there
I
yet.
noticed.
Yeah, well, I think it was like 3 or 4 days he could have that done, because it can't take that long to dig that up and pour it.
I think he gave us a deadline on the quote.
On the 20th, yep. And I told him that, and I have it on a text that he said he guaranteed it'd be done by the 20th.
So out there, you might end up doing a roll by door, just so we can roll it downhill and have it bottom cut so it fits when it lands there.
Yeah.
Because a regular garage door, you're not gonna get that
Right,
difference in there.
that's why I
And you
questioned
could
that.
do 2 doors, one on the upper part, one in the middle, one that rolls to the west.
Right. What I'll do is when I go up there, I'll make sure what the difference is, you know?
Okay.
Anything else?
Not off the top of my head.
Bottom. Have a good day.
Okay, next on the agenda is Luann Boki, our administrative assistant. It says here you appear at 9 o'clock, and it was just exactly 9 o'clock.
We're right on time. Okay, calendar for this week. 11 o'clock today, Jack has a DHS council meeting by Zoom, which is why I'll get up bright and early this morning. Then they changed the time as well.
I just
10
left my
o'clock to
clocks the
11.
same, so we're talking.
They were.
Just kidding.
It happens. People work it that way, so. 4 o'clock this afternoon is a a Coconut River Watershed Management Executive Meeting by Zoom for Larry. And at 7 o'clock tonight is the Jackson County Board of Health meeting. And Elizabeth says this will be downstairs in the community room at 7 o'clock, if anybody wants to go to that. Wednesday, November 10th. I have an addition that from 1 to 3 that day is a 988 coalition meeting by Zoom for Jack.
I'm sorry.
I thought you were looking for something. Okay. At 6 o'clock on the 10th is a 911 service board meeting for Mike. That was moved from the 3rd. Thursday, November 11th, the courthouse will be closed in honor of Veterans Day. Friday, November 12th at 10 a.m. is a 7th Judicial Department Corrections meeting in Davenport for Larry. Monday is another one of those days when everything is happening. At 7:30 is an early childhood Iowa executive meeting in DeWitt for Jack. At 10 o'clock is Waste Authority meeting for Mike. 1 p.m. is a regional advisory committee meeting in Davenport for Jack. Followed by at 3 o'clock, the regional governing board meeting also for Jack. And then at 5 o'clock is a Mississippi Valley workforce meeting by Zoom for Jack. I have on the calendar at 7 o'clock a Together We Build meeting. That is in flux at the moment. I don't know if it's going to be the 16th or the 17th. Jack is a kind of like pretty much either night, so I don't know where they're going to land with that. On our next regular meeting will be Tuesday, November 16th at 9 a.m. That afternoon at 2 o'clock will be a workforce CEO meeting in Muscatine for Jack. At 6 o'clock that night will be a Jackson County Economic Alliance meeting for Jack. And at 6 o'clock, also that night is a tentatively the Conservation Board meeting. I haven't heard back from them yet for Larry. And possibly the Together We Build meeting at 7 o'clock, depending on what they decide to do. So that day is still kind of up in the air. So. For me, I will be in tomorrow, but I will be late getting here because we have to run an errand in Dubuque early in the morning. So I'll be in, but it'll be late. So.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, William. Any boards or commission meetings? We haven't met for early childhood Iowa. Supposed to be yesterday morning, but it got changed to next week, so.
We did have a 911 board with meeting with the. Oh, I don't know. We had 3-4 engineers and technical people there that were gonna do the installations here, and they were looking at the towers and the site, so that's moving forward. So fair amount of the equipment's in the basement over here. So we're moving forward with it. There's no, again, it's very complex. We have to put a tower here so that whatever we're calling the dome on this tower hits the one out on the Caves Road, which we have to make sure that it will hold a 6-foot dish.
That goes.
So the technical study. One goes behind the law center tower.
Oh, okay.
There's a tower there now. It's basically a little TV tower, but it might be a little larger than that, with a little bigger base on it. It could
We need a
be
permit from the city.
50 to. Sure.
Just asking. That's all.
Well, it never hurts to ask, but not sure you want the answer.
There's a tower there now, so.
Okay. Time. Can we do your other business other
We'll
than
start
the
first with-
canvas?
Yeah, we'll start first with my auditor's agenda. So this morning I need a motion to approve the minutes of the November 2nd, 2021 board proceedings as written by Auditor Smith and authorized publication in the official newspapers.
Motion to approve.
Second.
The motion, the second to approve the publication of the minutes. All those in favor? Aye, motion carried.
Motion need to approve and authorize the auditor's office to issue warrants in the publication of the claims listing in the amount of $344,219.37.
Make a motion to approve and note that there is a new excavator in there. for about half of that.
I'd second that.
A motion and a second to approve the claims in the amount of $344,219.37. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried.
The last part of my agenda is, of course, the canvas of the election, the combined city school election that happened last week. Just a little discussion, I guess we can have. Of course, polls opened at 7 a.m. Polls then closed with the new Iowa law at 8 o'clock at night. In the mornings, as I've always discussed, there is a zero state that comes out of the machines to show that there are no votes on that machine when voting starts on election morning. And then at the end of the night, the election officials take those results, those tapes out of those machines. And that's how we get our results. It was a decision made based on the March of 21 election that we would no longer have the election officials call in the results. So as the polls closed on Tuesday night last week, we sent runners out to pick up equipment. And we had a very detailed chain of custody when it comes to this. It looks like a thumb drive, a jump drive, we call it a TM, but the election officials took that TM and a results tape, along with what we call a write-in report, and gave that in a sealed bag to those runners. So there was no way from that polling location and back to the courthouse could any of the results been manipulated. Everything was sealed and timed, and like I said, chain of custody was really important. And then those runners came back here to return the supplies. And then Bjorn took these TMs and he uploaded that on election night. He uploaded that. So instead of having an election official look at a printout tape, call it into us, to us write it on a piece of paper, and from us to write it on a piece of paper to an Excel spreadsheet. And so we eliminated a lot of chance for error. So I know that when we uploaded our results to the ENR, or election night reporting to the Iowa Secretary of State's office, I was very confident that the returns that we had put on that website were correct. So with that being said, what happened in the election, there were a significant amount, 635 write-in votes that happened last Tuesday that did make the decision as far as who won or who lost in all of these different races. We were not able, through the ENR, the election night reporting, we were not able to include any of those write-ins for those candidates that chose to be on, chose to run for those positions. Instead of putting their name on the ballot, they chose to do it through the write-in process. It takes time. 635 votes had to be verified. So I was criticized. Jackson County Auditor drops the ball. No, I didn't drop the ball. I made sure that when we finally at about 3 o'clock, I'd say maybe 3:30 on Wednesday afternoon, after we had gone through and verified all of these write-in votes, that I was confident. And I really do believe I did. I still believe what we posted on Wednesday afternoon was the correct totals. We did not want to have someone be the apparent winner if they weren't. So we verified to make sure that all of these write-in votes were tabulated correctly. And I've gotten a little complaints about this, but those people chose to run as a write-in candidate, not a candidate with their name on the ballot. And so unfortunately, there's a time process that we need to do to make sure that we report our election results correctly. So yeah, it did take a while, and I can't just post one position. So we waited to post all write-in positions. And I just wanted to make sure that everybody understands it wasn't because we were trying to, to be mean, or the only reason I did it is that we posted all of those write-in returns, and those that could be an apparent winner is what we posted. I didn't post anyone but, or blank, or whatever, all of the other ones that we get. I just need everybody to understand it takes time. And you know, those people that put their name on the ballot, those returns were released, those votes were released on Tuesday night. But when you have a write-in campaign, it just takes time. So, and then to be fair to all of the candidates, that's why we released it together as one release on Wednesday afternoon.
Which makes perfectly good sense.
You know what? Someone didn't agree with that, but that was my decision, and I think
Would
that's
not
the
have been the
fair,
right answer. I mean.
Yeah.
It would not have been right if you just put the ones that were,
right.
and that includes, you know. like-
And in visiting
for the
with,
write-ins, I guess.
in visiting with other counties, they also do not release their write-in returns. A matter of fact, when I talked to Dubuque County on Wednesday afternoon, they hadn't even started to look at theirs yet.
Oh.
As an example, one of the situations that's happening now, today is what we call a tier 1 canvas, and next Tuesday we will do a tier 2 canvas. Today's tier 1 canvas are for the cities that are entirely within Jackson County. And next week, the tier 2 canvas will be done for the city of Zwingle in Dubuque. So when it comes to the cities today, what the results are today are what you're going to sign as the abstracts, and we will move forward with those, and we will be contacting the city clerks.
Is Delmer in the same situation?
Dilmer is wholly in Clinton County, so they will be a tier 1, correct.
Okay.
We do share Easton Valley School District. We are the control county for the Easton Valley School District. We will be hosting the tier 2 canvas next week when it comes to that. Also Macokota, we will be doing a tier 2 canvas next Tuesday. There is a very close race in Easton Valley. And so based on what happens to that, we could potentially, I don't know, I have talked to the candidate as far as if he feels that a recount is necessary or not. If that's what he feels is necessary, then we will follow those procedures also. But for right now, we will canvass the election returns for all of the cities in Jackson County, and we will certify the results of what happened in Jackson County in those school districts today, but we cannot declare a winner yet. That will be done next week. Not that it really pertains to us, but just as a point of interest, there was a writing campaign done in the city of Zwingle, which is split between Jackson and Dubuque County. And there's been quite a discussion about that. What happened is that the person that was wrote in, the driveway of his property is actually addressed off of the city of Zwingle. It's the Washington Mills Road, but he physically resides in the township. That's where his taxes, when he pays his property taxes, it goes to the township, not to the city. And so I did visit with him. And he will have to make a decision. He will be one of those that has to make a decision as far as if he wants to qualify for the position or if he would just as soon resign. And he does have 10 days after the date of the second canvas for the tier 2 canvas, which is next week. So that's been, I think that's made the paper, I believe, because someone called me about that. Okay. So that was my opinion. And so he does have to make a decision. At this point, he does not qualify for the position because he lives in the township. So that was just a situation that went on. There was write-in campaigns throughout Jackson County, and we do have a tie for a position in the city of Andrew. So once we draw the name out of our very, out of our little Mary basket here, that whoever you draw out will be declared the winner. That one of the names that will be in the basket is also a person that won the other position. The name that will be going into the basket, there are 2 candidates. Those are for a 2-year position. One of those individuals was elected for a 4-year position. So should he get his name drawn out of the hat today, he would be duly elected for both positions, and then he would have to make that decision. When it comes to write-in votes and as far as who the winner is, Iowa law is very clear. For cities, they are handled differently than they are for schools and for everybody else. In this situation, the other candidate, the next highest vote getter, should that person choose to want to serve, could be considered duly elected. So there's just, really other than that, I would say, are all elections perfect? Oh, I'd love to say that. There's always a little glitch here and there, but everything was taken care of. I think nobody was really turned away that I knew of. At least I haven't received any phone calls. I believe that election day was almost a 17% turnout, 16 points. Yeah. So we've conducted our post-election audit, which we have to do according to Iowa law. We did that last Friday. We took care of all of our provisional ballots. So today we're just at a point to, there's a lot of signing that needs to be done, and we do need to draw a name out of a hat. And so let's draw the name out of the hat. This is for a position in the city of Andrew to fill a vacancy. The two names,
I guess, can we do it before 9:30?
oh, yeah,
Okay,
yeah, we're gonna do it real quickly. So
I
I
can say
have,
because on the agenda it says we're doing it at
Yes.
9:30.
no, I would say, I mean,
Okay.
we're, yeah. So Isaac Ambrosi is one name, and the other name that I have on here is John Williams. So based on whoever wins this,
This is for council.
this is for the Andrew City Council to fill a vacancy for a 2-year term.
Isaac Ambrosi.
Okay. So Isaac Ambrosi, can you go run that to Mary because she needs to. So John Williams was the individual that had his name for the other position. So Mary she will put this Isaac Ambrosi's name in, and he will be considered duly elected. Write-ins did make a difference in some of these small towns. A write-in candidate did win in Sebula. Just kind of all over the place here as far as that. So, and then all of this will need to be signed. What I will ask for today is a motion to authorize board as canvassers to certify and authorize board signature on the true and correct abstracts of votes cast in Jackson County at the November 2nd, 2021 city school election, as shown by the official abstract, and further authorize chair signature on certificates of election, and authorize Auditor Smith to forward abstracts and certificates.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
All right.
Aye, motion carried.
Do you have any questions when it comes to election at all?
Not really.
I guess the one thing I didn't hear, what was the percentage of voters?
16.9.
Yeah,
I didn't ever hear it on the radios.
and I didn't go back and compare what it was 2 years ago. I didn't either. I didn't do that. Yeah. Been kind of a little busy here, so.
Were there any absentee ballots that were mailed or not? That happened this time.
I think there were 4 absentee ballots that were not returned out of 200 and,
71.
yeah, so that's a pretty good return rate.
I'd say.
Yeah, yeah, so 4 ballots were not
And they're
returned.
mailed in or they dropped?
So part of what happened with this new legislation, it said that we could only receive absentee ballots. There are different types of voters. The most populous one would be people that we sent to here in Jackson County. They had to physically be here. That ballot had to physically be here by 8 o'clock when the polls closed on election day. We actually kept our absentee team here because we needed, if for some reason at 7:59, someone dropped a ballot off. That ballot would have had to have been opened up and processed on Tuesday. They've changed that. So we had our absentee board start late and stay here until 8 o'clock, and then Bjorn went down, yeah. So then Bjorn went down and he
You needed a Tootsie Roll.
closed out the machine. And so our returns, all of our returns then, it's not like you could put a ballot in the mail on Monday and have it come in on Wednesday. That would not. That is one of the new law changes.
You know, yeah, I'm okay with that. I think that's just responsibility, you know, they have it here on time.
It will affect some people in these winter elections, these big elections. It will affect people that live in Arizona that have gone down already. I mean, this is gonna be vote it and return it. That's,
Yeah,
yeah,
well, they have
that's the
time,
main
yeah,
thing.
that's-
Vote it and return it right away. Yeah. So.
It's a little iffy on the mail.
I am a little concerned about that. I still believe in the US postal system. I mean, they know, I visited with Postmaster Bob. They know that what that white envelope is. But across the United States, I think that's gonna get interesting with all of the mail being transported, how to get it there in a timely manner. We didn't have any issues in 2020. We'll see what happens in 2022.
10 days difference, so
It's a big difference.
that's big. difference.
All that I have left for the board today then is just some signing.
There any, any unfinished business?
No further business, I'd make a motion to adjourn.
Did 188th Street Bridge get open?
Open.
Somebody asked me that this morning, yes, I think it is. but haven't officially got it.
Well, I don't know if it's official, open last week, but it was open last week, really.
Okay,
Sounds close.
so I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn the meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carried.